It's the episode of the month you've all been waiting for. We welcome back to the stage Stevie Buckler! Hey, the crowd goes wild! Hey, he's back, he's back!
You know what's funny? There's 3 different ways to say your surname. Your whole family say Buckler, Butchler, Buchler.
Yeah, they're all wrong.
So how do you say it?
All right, it depends on the day.
Buchler.
You see,
Buchler.
we're not locked into any one form of thing with our name. We're prepared to just go with the flow.
Which is something that Steve has been asking me to do a little more of late and stop being so rigid. Just so you know, we have got 3 dogs, literally one everywhere. So if it gets a little bit rowdy, it's because we have Teddy, Daisy, and Bailey. Teddy is our little friend. It is Daisy's little boyfriend, and we're minding him at the moment. So we've got dogs everywhere.
Yeah, Teddy and I have had our daddy dog chat about what he can and can't do with my daughter.
Anyway, so it's the podcast of the month where Steve and I come together, and we talk about relationship stuff. Things that go on in our relationship that we believe is going to be helpful to you. And, you know, we air some of our dirty laundry, I guess, in the process.
Yeah, we try and be a bit vulnerable and real and raw so that we can help other people maybe
You be a bit vulnerable because you get a bit scared being vulnerable, don't you?
I don't like it.
You don't like it because you're an Enneagram type 8.
Yes.
And that's a very scary thing for you, isn't it? Hey, but you are here. Anyway, digress. So we want to bring to you a topic today that has actually come off the back of our own little shitstorm that we experienced only a few days ago.
Yeah, it's one example of it, but like it happens
Correct.
over and over and over again in our
It's
relationship.
because you're not learning, darling. You're not learning fast enough. So do you want me to share the example?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about, why.
Well, then we will break it down and why we believe it's important to
break
share.
it down.
So the other day, I was just having a whinge and a wang about aspects of my business. And I just wanted to be like pissed off. You know, I didn't want any solutions. I didn't want any answers. I just wanted a space where I could go, fucking this isn't happening or this isn't following through or, I just wanted to be a bit of a victim.
Yeah, but it's important to note you didn't communicate that you didn't want any solutions.
That is correct.
What was actually happening in reality is that you were just like, hey, and you started talking about a whole bunch of stuff to do with your business.
This is true. And I get that you are a business guy. And I know that we have better communication styles than that, where typically I would say, hey, I want to vent. Please don't fix me. I just want to speak, which is what we're going to talk to today. But the other day, I had my little vent, had my little whinge. I was sitting on the couch outside. I just wanted to be a party pooper. I didn't want to be fucking empowered cat. Let's, overcome this cat. I just wanted to, suck on my own or sit in my own shit for a period of time. And then Mr. Buckler, Buchler,
so I basically observed what you were saying, and
Did you observe?
I did. And then I basically went, oh, cool. Okay, well, we can do this and we can do that and we can do this and we can do that. And that would solve all her issues. Now, what was interesting was the more value add and solutions I gave her, the shittier she appeared to get.
Yep.
Which was short-circuiting my brain because I'm like, hang on a second. I'm giving you answers to your problems and this is making you more angry, right?
Really angry. Like just again, let's break it all down as we go through it. I was shutting down. I was closing off in my head. This is what I was saying in my head. Shut the fuck up. I'm not hearing or don't want to hear anything that you're saying.
Yep.
That's what I was saying in my head. And that's the energy that I was definitely giving off.
And it became very obvious to me that that's what you were doing. So I basically went, go get fucked, and walked off, right? Not in those words.
No, he didn't, but
more,
in his energy,
it was more like, okay, cool, well, you're obviously not in a position to listen to anything right now, so let's just leave it. And I walked off, and as I walked off, inside my brain, I was like, wow, fuck me, I don't understand. Like, how did that make things worse? So then I was at my computer, and I was just sort of replaying it in my head, and then like a little light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is a perfect example of masculine not understanding feminine, right? And so I then went back outside and I said, hey, listen, I understand now you weren't looking to be fixed. You weren't looking for solutions. You were looking to be heard. And I just want to say, even though everything I said was right, I apologize, because I understand that that's not what you needed from me in the moment.
Yeah, it was correct information, but it was not correct for that moment in time.
According to
from my according to
which is the whole point of today.
Exactly.
This is the whole point of today's podcast.
Exactly.
It's about
how
in relationships, especially, and I'm just going to talk heterosexual, male, female, masculine,
because that's the
feminine,
relationship
right?
we're in.
I'm not going to digress into, if you're in a gay relationship and one's more feminine than the other, like, I'm just not going to go there, right? I'm going to talk specifically from our relationship, male, female, because masculine,
that's what's
feminine,
real for
right?
us. Yeah.
And this dynamic is happening all over the world constantly, and it's fucking people's relationships up because of the fact that no one is right and no one is wrong. It's just the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But if a man can learn how to speak or understand Venusian, right, as Bette Midler says in that famous movie, What Women Want, right, then, and if a woman can speak Martian, then shit becomes much easier. Because it's not until you can get to that point where you understand that if you understand what they actually need from you, then you can engage appropriately.
Yeah, because in that moment when I was sharing what I wanted to share and Steve was going and fixing it, in like what was happening internally for me was I was feeling misunderstood. I was feeling hurried up to be better and to be happy. And I actually said that to you. I said, stop fucking hurrying up my process just because you want me to be happy, just because you want me to get out of my sad sack of shit. And I said to you, like, not long ago, you came to me with your woes or your concerns when it came to business or when it came to whatever it may be. And I just fucking listened. I didn't fix you and whatever else. And so what was happening was we were getting further and further and further away from the original intent of, I just want to have a wang and I just want someone to hear me. Right? So what you and I have, like, we have it in our toolkit, but obviously we didn't use it the other day. Me speaking Martian is, I just want to get shit off my chest. Please don't fix me.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is something like, it is a game. It sounds so small,
my
but
God,
it's a game changer.
When we did this years ago.
Fuck. If all you do is communicate what you need from someone else beforehand, then the expectation management is addressed and they can actually handle it, right? Yep. So something as simple as, hey, I'm going to share something just so that you know, I don't want to fix, I don't want a solution, I just want you to listen. Then a guy's going to go, sweet, I know what she fucking wants.
Yeah.
I'll listen.
I know what women want.
Because most dudes, and by most, I mean me, and I'm just going to take me and put it onto the whole planet.
Yes,
right?
Good. No, speak for you.
What my approach is if someone puts a problem in front of me, I want to solve it. Because in the masculine, you're like, if I solve this problem, I have helped this person. So you just go straight to, cool, we'll just do this, and your problem solved, right? But if someone doesn't want a problem solved, they just want to be heard, then solving their problem is just going to make them feel like they're being minimized and that you're not listening, right?
Yeah, correct.
So by just simply saying, hey, I just want to be heard, I just want you to listen, then a guy can just take all the pressure off and go, oh, no problem, no solving, sweet, here I am. The funny thing is that by the sheer fact that you hadn't dropped that one line in, like in our case, it was like a 5-minute thing,
Yeah, it was
right? Like I was back in, I was
5
back in
minutes.
front of her in 5 minutes saying, hey, I get it, blah, 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 blah. But for other people, like
Oh, yeah.
this can take something like that and blow up into like hours of not speaking or a night of resentment or like ultimately like crack their relationship. And
well, because if it's continuously ongoing where the woman feels, again, in typical heterosexual relationships, if the woman feels unheard, but then like what you said, like I remember in that moment I said to you, stop making it about you, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? All I'm doing is making it about you because I'm trying to help you. I'm like, no, you're fucking not, because you're not hearing me. I want to be heard, right? Because I said that to you after the fact that you tried to fix me, and then everything was undone anyway.
yeah,
You know, and both of us have read the book The Way of the Superior Man, which I believe is an incredible book for the masculine to read, but also for the feminine. You read it yonks ago.
yeah, it's huge.
And then you reread it again when I reread it, I read it.
I mean, the power of that book is that it really makes you understand how fucking crazy the feminine.
Oh, hey, motherfucker! No,
can
no,
be.
it's not actually.
No, it does.
It's not.
It does.
It's not. It's not about the fucking crazy.
There is a bit in the book that basically says,
mate, you got me triggered,
that the feminine is the ocean and the storm, right? The feminine is, it changes like the wind. It crashes up against you. It fucking throws waves. And the masculine's job is to be the rock in the middle of this storm that just gets pounded but doesn't go anywhere, because that's how you provide ultimate support to the feminine, right? It's being able to stay grounded whilst the feminine is doing its fucking thing, right?
But what's interesting about it too, so with that, is in like how that book expresses it, the feminine's mission in doing that, unconsciously most of the time, is to keep pushing the masculine into their masculine, into their superior man, right? So for example,
and to test,
yeah, exactly. So that other day, with all of that took place, and me coming to you, and again, you've done the work and continue to do the work, I was pushing you back into your masculine to be like, no, fucker, hold me. Which you ended up doing.
Yeah.
You came outside and you smiled and you wanted to re-engage, and I gave you my little pinky finger. I'm like,
that's all you're getting.
That's all you're getting for now, but I will re-engage. But then once I gave you my pinky, I was like, all right, cool, we're done.
Yeah. But I think importantly, millions of people haven't read the book.
Yeah.
And as a guy who can talk post-book, pre-book, like the guy pre-book,
give us that.
Never had a chance.
You, as in you, Steve pre-book.
Steve pre-book never had a fucking chance.
So talk a bit to that.
It's just, like the understanding the way the feminine works and how the feminine works. When the waves and storm come at you, you post-book, you're like, cool, I get what's happening. I get why it's happening. It's not her. It's not she's fucking crazy. It's just the nature of the feminine. And so understanding that, you appreciate and receive it differently, and therefore you lock down and go into that rock. But before that, you sit there and go, fucking crazy bitch, like, I'm out of here.
So you would actually have that language.
You would totally just be like, dude, she's fucking nuts. Like, totally tried to help her, can't talk to her, don't understand her. Why would I want to be here? Right? See you later, Evs.
Isn't that interesting? Because I wonder how many people are having that conversation where, again, in the masculine, they would be saying all women are fucked, all women are nuts. But then the feminine women would be saying there's no guy out there who gets me. Correct. Or supports me, when it's just fucking the solution is so goddamn simple. Annoyingly simple.
Yeah, it's all every time we talk about anything, money, health, wealth, whatever, it will always come back to, are you communicating in your relationship? Yeah. Are you expressing to your partner what you need in your relationship? Yeah. Are you communicating what is and isn't working and how you need, people aren't mind readers. I'm not a fucking mind reader.
No, it's true.
Right?
It's true.
So it's like, just ask that question. Am I, if you're listening to this right now and you've had a fight with your partner, ask, did you actually communicate what you actually wanted? Are you judging them on shit that they don't even know is conditions in your rule book? Like, how many things can be avoided if you just go home and go, hey, tonight, why don't we sit down and actually just have a conversation about, like, what do we expect from each other? Like, not expect as in, like, if you don't do it, you're fucking gone. But, like, what are your expectations? What do you need to feel safe? What do you need to feel loved? We've done all those chats.
Yeah, we have.
And the more you understand each other, the better you can then engage with each other. And, there's that whole other part about understanding, your wounds and your ego, which is what you teach in your in all your legends and your courses, right? So when you have that next level up of understanding your ego and how your ego is coming in to fuck up the truth, like, these tools, they're not like optional. They're like, if you want a decent life, if you want happiness in your life,
and a decent relationship,
you need to understand them. And if you don't, you're like a fucking toddler rocking up to drive an F1 car. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
And that's often what happens, because I think we all want to, at the core of us, be in a relationship and have a wonderful relationship. But again, going in, like you say, untooled, you've got a toolkit that's empty. It's like, fuck, man, it's so obvious why shit will go down.
Yeah. And I think the other important one in all that is accountability, like self-accountability, right? And self-responsibility. So, like, when I went to the desk, it's like, hang on a minute, this is not about her. How did I, interact and generate that outcome? And I looked at it and went, oh yeah, okay, well, I didn't do this, or I didn't approach it this way. And so many people don't have that self-responsibility. Like, people out there, like, we see it with, some of our friends, and like, every relationship ends the same way. The same guy gets attracted, the same girl gets attracted, the same fuck up happens, the same. And then, but what happens is, you never hear, oh, it's me. It's like, oh, every guy is this.
Yeah, correct. That's
every
what,
girl
I was saying before.
is that. Yeah.
How has this, because you are surrounded by the feminine. You've got 2 daughters, you've got me. Joyful. You also have an ex-wife. I mean, you've also got a mum as well, but I guess typically probably as a dad, how our relationship, because us working it out for us, and then you going, oh shit, like, okay, cool, this is how I interact truly with the feminine. How has it shifted your relationship?
Massive. Like, my daughters are 16 and 14 now, and like, in the past, let's say my oldest one, if she would have a blow up or just be acting completely irrationally, I'd just be like, oh, you draining fucker, and like, just disengage. Whereas now, I step in,
which would be such a big wound.
Yeah. So now I step
for
into
her,
it.
It would be a big wound.
So, if she'll say she runs upstairs and she's being filthy, I'll actually go and step into it and just go and hug her, and she'll be like, get off me, and I'll just keep hugging her until she softens.
Because you actually know what.
Yeah, because what's actually happening.
She's testing you.
Is different. Yeah, correct.
And that's the test of the feminine.
She's trying to.
If you give a fuck.
To basically reinforce the belief that I'm unlovable, that
men don't understand
me. Men
me.
Won't support me, that dad doesn't love me. And it's like, when you do the opposite, they hate it because you're basically not allowing that belief is right.
Amen.
But then after a moment, you feel the soften, right? So if I go up and just hug her and she's pushing me off and going, go away, and you just keep hugging her, eventually she just droops into it, and it's like, there it is. But in order to get to that, I had to basically have all these waves bash up against me and just stay.
So when the
solid.
Waves of, like, say, your previous relationships, or even when we first started going out, like, because I know I'm
you're hard work. You are a draining
in my
energy.
I've got a fuckload of darkness as well as light,
Yeah.
I know that we had to navigate a fair
Well, I think the technical term for you is a black hole, because a black hole, light cannot escape. It just sucks it in.
Oh my God. So fucking funny. But see, now you know that when I'm in my black hole, see, because like we've been going out now 6 years, you now know all of my tricks, my dark tricks, my ego tricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the cool thing is too, because we've had these difficult conversations and learn how to navigate them. When I am in my black hole, I mean, look, we're not perfect all the time, that's for sure, but 9 times out of 10, when I'm black, when I'm dark, when I'm whatever, you know, you do show up pretty powerfully.
Yep. And we sort it out, but we have the tools.
But see,
right?
That's the thing. So with what we're talking about before, the feminine, how she tests and how she pushes, if the masculine does respond with rage, anger, disengagement, etc., the woman or the feminine will feel like, cool, he's unstable, he's ungrounded, he's easy to fuck with. And so she'll just keep testing, right? So then tell me
regardless, they're going to keep testing and testing and testing. That's what you sign up for.
Yeah, but I know that the shift that I've had with you, where I'm like, oh, cool, like I can unearth him pretty quickly. Whereas now I'm like, he's got some roots.
Yeah, they're solid
underground.
Yep.
How has that shift been for you, from being easily like pushed around basically by the waves to being the rock?
You feel much better in yourself.
How do you feel?
That's what I mean. I feel better in myself. Like, just, you feel more solid. You're not constantly in reaction to things. You can observe and realize, well, this has nothing to do with me. Fucking splash around as much as you like. I'll just be sitting here waiting when you're done. Like I said, it's not a silver bullet thing. It's something that I have chosen to work very, very hard on for the past 6 years. When my last relationship finished, I had 3 years where I was single, and I spent a lot of time in those 3 years wondering, if I had known these tools then, could I have saved that relationship? My answer is still to this day, no.
Because that's the thing. You don't. The masculine isn't just a rock that deals with toxic shit, right? It's not that you just put up with.
No.
There's a difference between the feminine pushing and testing versus someone who's actually toxic.
Yeah, and I will often say, like, if I'm asked about it, it's like, this is not about like just accepting anything and having some shit person in your life who like treats you poorly and does all this stuff, and you're meant to just be the rock. That's a misinterpretation.
That's very true.
Of the work.
Yeah.
This is saying that you have to understand the dynamic of the feminine, and that when you're in a good relationship and a loving relationship, the feminine is still going to be there, because it's just the nature. It's the polarities of masculine and feminine, right? And you could do a whole podcast on the reverse, which is, that women should understand the masculine and like what we're needing to receive and how we experience war. Because if you can understand that, then you can understand when we show up in a certain way, you're like, hang on, he's not being a prick. He's actually just doing his thing, right?
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that, single for 3 years, spent a lot of time thinking about, if I knew these tools then, could I have saved it? The answer is no. But it has meant that putting in this work for the last 6 years with you and the girls and everyone around me, like, you feel just solid. But you need the tools. So sorry, that's what I was saying. Like, it's not a silver bullet episode, like, oh, take this pill and bang.
Never is.
It's like, you have to do the work. And if I'm talking to anyone, if I can give anyone like a tip, it's, you have to learn all about the ego. You have to learn about
your ego.
Yeah. You got to learn about your ego. Where did it come from? How does it play out in your life? How is it fucking you? Then you have to learn about your role as either the masculine or the feminine. And then, just to swirl it a bit more, you got to chuck other person's entire ego into it, and then try and make that work together.
Totally.
Not easy, right? No. Which is why you need the tools. So yeah, but if you have them, life does become infinitely
Yeah, I mean,
easier to navigate.
I think with that, it's not that your problems go away and then magically disappear. It's that the problems that do arise, or the like, for example, the other day when we had our little tiff, 5 minutes, we're done, we're re-engaged. You know, the kids come home, they have no idea that we just had a tiff, and I hated him, and he hated me, and we were in, blame mode. Like,
It's a shortcut.
That's the cool part of it. But I think one simple takeaway from this is, if you can just have that conversation, because if this is coming up in your world and in your relationship a lot, whether, whatever type of relationship you're in, if you can have that conversation when you're not charged, when you're not, angry at one another, of, when I come to you, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, I just want to be heard. I don't want to be fixed, or I don't want solutions. And then you create an agreement. You create a pact, basically, so that next time you do have a concern or a problem, whether it be you want to bitch about your mum, you want to bitch about work, and you just want like 5 minutes of uninterrupted, time, that agreement is there. And I guess the point is, if that agreement is there, and one or both of you are still not agreeing to it, then I guess some deeper work will need to be done. Possibly,
but, but the step one is having that overarching agreement that you understand. But
correct.
The other one is frame up a conversation, because people forget, right? We autopilot back to what we know, and
totally,
and that's
that's exactly what happened the other day.
Yeah, we autopilot back to our ego. We autopilot back to our little processes.
Yeah.
So it's like, frame a conversation. Just go, hey, I need to have a quick chat with you. It's about this. Right now, I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for this. And then maybe at the end of it, see, the way I would engage that same conversation now.
Yeah, when we are conscious.
If Kat would have said, hey, I just want you to listen, blah, 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 I would have listened. And then I would have said, would you like any potential solutions?
Which you've done before, many a time.
And then if she then says yes, I'll be like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because you often say yes and you're still not ready to receive it. And then if she says yes, then I'll go, cool, what about this, this, this? Think it over, no pressure. That's it.
Correct. That has been, it sounds so simple, but it has literally been such a game changer. I want to share this with you. Please don't fix me. Once I finish speaking, you say, cool, are you open to any type of feedback? I'll either say no, and yes, sometimes I do say yes, and then I actually am not ready, and then I get my defenses back up again, and then here we go, and it's like, all right, cool, I'll leave you be. And it's a forever dance that you're going to be in whilst you're in a relationship. But fuck, if you can have this in place, you do shortcut a lot of resentment.
That's it for this month's episode with Stevie B in the house. I will see you next month. Bye-bye.
That was cute.